NDC's John Dramani Mahama expected to name his running mate for the 2020 elections today. We have profiles of the prospective running mates that have emerged. Over 2 million Ghanaians register in first phase of the voters' registration exercise as phase 2 begins today. Hello, this is your election headquarters and I'm Araba Kumsin. Thanks for joining us for your election brief. We are live on your DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. For the next 30 minutes, stay with me for your election brief. Thanks for your company. Now, former Director General of the Ghana National Development Planning Commission, Dr. Nimoy Thompson, and former Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyemang, are among the front-runners in the race to partner John Dramani Mahama for the opposition NDC's 2020 ticket. Former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Duffuor and former Health Minister Segbefia are also in strong position. Mr. Mahama is expected to announce his choice today after an NDC National Executive Committee meeting. Kwesi Parker-Wilson is on the grounds for us at the NDC NEC meeting. He joins us live. Parker, if you can hear me, what is happening where you are?
Okay, so Araba, the meeting was suspended for just about 30 minutes, and we are told that the nomination submitted by the flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, was met with some opposition. So just about 30 minutes ago, the chairman of the party, the regional Greater Accra regional chairman of the party, Adikoka, and the deputy general secretary, national deputy general secretary, Peter Bomo-Tukono, left the premises of the NDC headquarters to go and meet the former president, John Dramani Mahama. And they just returned a while ago, and so the meeting is currently underway. As to what the opposition was, my source did not disclose to me, but he tells me that there was some opposition with the nomination, and they are hoping that the national chairman or the National Council of Elders will resolve that, and then in the next 30 minutes, they will tell us whether or not they have accepted and approved Professor Jane Opoku-Agyemang as the running mate to partner former President John Dramani Mahama in the December poll. So currently, the National Council of Elders meeting is ongoing. It just started about 5 minutes ago, and right from there, they'll go to the National Executive Committee to communicate their decision to them.
And Parker, just before you go, so who are those at this meeting? Who are these key people meeting to decide on who partners John Dramani Mahama for 2020?
So it's the chairman of the party, the national chairman of the party. We are told, those I have seen personally, is that the general secretary, the chairman of the party, the 16 regional chairmen of the NDC are all in the meeting, and I have been told that Dr. Segbefia and also Mr. Ahoy are all in the meeting, but I can't confirm whether they are. But those I've seen are the ones I've mentioned to you.
Thanks, Parker. Kwesi Parker-Wilson is our man on the ground there, and we will be going to him live as and when any new information emerges on whether indeed Jane Nana Opoku-Agyemang has been selected or approved by the NEC to partner John Dramani Mahama for the 2020 elections. Now, Winston Amwa is a member of the political desk, and he joins me here with some more on this. So, Winston, what factors are in play in deciding, who partners the flag bearer?
Well, let me say good afternoon to you and viewers. A lot of things will come to play in deciding who partners John Dramani Mahama. Now, in the first instance, you'd have to ask yourself, as we get close to election 2020, what are Ghanaians talking about? Of course, Ghanaians are talking about the economy. And after the Afrobarometer report indicated that the economy played a major role in one of the issues that was going to be, much talked about during the election. But there's also, a lot of things about social intervention programs here and there. You've had some NDC bigwigs like the Dr. Tony Edu consistently saying that the NPP has been stealing the voters of the NDC because the NDC is known as a social democratic party. So in going into this election, the economy will play a major role, and the social sector, particularly education, because one of the trump cards of the NPP going into this election is the free SHS. And if you're going to be contesting with a government that says, I have implemented this, it means you should be spot on policies concerning education. And if you want to talk about policies concerning education, you have a former education minister, you have a former vice chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, who's been dean of graduate studies, dean of the Faculty of Arts, head of English language department. So lots of factors are playing here. And that's how come you would see that, the name of Dr. Kwabena Duffuor came out strongly. Because when it comes to the economy, here's a man who's been general manager of the Ghana Commercial Bank, he's been deputy governor before, he's been governor before, he's been a finance minister before, he's owned a bank. There are issues here and there, but
we'll get into the details and what each brings to the ticket. But we have profiles of the four runners. Let's begin with Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyemang. She was born on the 22nd of November 1951 in Cape Coast, Ghana. She attended Anglican Girls Secondary School at Koforidua and Ebri Presby Girls School. She then had her secondary education at the Wesley Girls High School in Cape Coast from 1964 to 1971. She completed her Bachelor in Education in English and French at the University of Cape Coast in 1977 and obtained her master's and doctorate degrees from York University in Toronto, Ontario, Canada in 1980 and 1986 respectively. Professor Opoku-Agyemang taught and worked at the University of Cape Coast starting in 1986. She has held various academic positions, including head of the Department of English, Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Warden of Adishia Hall, Valco Trust Fund Postgraduate Hostel, and Dean of School of Graduate Studies and Research from 1997. She has held the position of Academic Director of the School for International Training in the History and Cultures of the African Diaspora from 2008 to 2012. She was the university's Vice Chancellor. In March 2007, she was one of 5 scholars selected to deliver presentations during the 200th anniversary of the abolition of slavery at the United Nations headquarters in New York City. In October 2009, she was elected Ghana's representative to the Executive Board of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. Ahead of the 2012 general elections, Jane Opoku-Agyemang moderated the debate with Kojo Oppong Nkrumah between February 2013 and January 2017. She served as the Education Minister of Ghana. On 26 October 2018, she became the Chancellor of the Women's University in Africa, located in Zimbabwe. She has served on many local and international boards and committees, such as the Center for Democratic Governance, CDD Ghana, the editorial board of the Hornet, Harriet Tubman series on the African diaspora, the African Initiative in Canada, and the College of Physicians and Surgeons as eminent citizen. So that's a brief profile of Dr. Nana Jane Opoku-Agyemang. Winston, what does she bring to the table? You're earlier talking about the fact that the MPP's flagship program, Free SHS, is going to be one to look out for, that the NDC may have to find someone to sort of, contest.
Yes, exactly. And so in finding out somebody who can actually better explain all of these things. Nana has been speaking about education ever since she left office. She's been one of those few persons who's commented a lot about the free education. She's talked about the need for equality. You have to ensure that everybody gets to go to school. Now, if the NDC thinks that education is going to play such a major role in the campaign, then in bringing Nana Opoku-Agyemang on board, and we're talking about how she had been head of the English department at the University of Cape Coast. She was dean of the faculty. She's taught a lot of students. She understands education. Mind you, she was the first woman vice chancellor of a state university in Ghana. And having served as education minister also, it gives her a very good understanding of the country's educational sector. So if you're talking about a governing party that says, we've done so much in education, you need somebody that can help match that. And if you look through the NDC, I'm sure in deciding to do so, the flag bearer thinks that she's the one who can do that. And she also comes from, you know, the NDC's consistently had somebody from the central region on their ticket. And you've heard people say that, well, why wouldn't you probably, you know, change that? But the thing is, if you have a swing region, which could swing in your favor, make you win, why would you want to go for a candidate from your opponent's stronghold? A swing region always presents the best, you know, option.
But she's a woman. Do you think Ghana is ready for a woman vice president? I mean, gender is a major issue in these elections anyway. But we've had other political or presidential candidates in the past, you know, partner women, but they haven't garnered any votes. So do you really think that, you know, being a woman will help or hinder that ticket?
Well, so you have to look at Jane Opoku-Agyemang's background. You've seen her as the Chancellor of the Women University in Zimbabwe. When I was at the University of Cape Coast, she was my lecturer in African women writers. So this is the point. Now, in 2008, I'm sure that I've seen all the articles about if Nana Akufo-Addo or John Evans Atamils were to choose a running mate. There's lots of people who said, if they choose a female running mate, I would vote for them because we want women participating in mainstream politics. Right from the appointment of Georgina Woods as the first Chief Justice to, you know, Sophia Akufu as Chief Justice to even Betty Idrisu as Attorney General at the time, Ghanaians have gradually been warming themselves up to the time that you'd have a woman occupy one of the two topmost positions. We've had a female speaker. What a way to continue by having a female vice president. I do not think that would affect her at all. I think that if she's able to make a strong case for her, what she says is what matters. And being female also, the good thing about it is that she's trained and mentored a lot of young ladies right from her days at the University of Cape Coast. And that could go even a long way in helping her.
Well, talking is one thing, doing is another. We'll see whether the rhetoric matches the reality. Now, to former Health Minister Alex Segbefia, Mr. Segbefia, who is a lawyer called to the bar both in Ghana and the United Kingdom, is a former Deputy Chief of Staff, a former Deputy Minister of Defence, and a former Minister of Health, a former chairman of the UK and Ireland branch of the NDC. Mr. Segbefia is currently the Director of International Relations of the NDC and Deputy Campaign Manager for the party's election 2020 campaign team. So, Winston, what does Mr. Segbefia bring to the table?
Well, so if he gets to be chosen, one of the things he would bring on is the fact that in the 2016 elections, one of the challenges the NDC faced was that it had lost touch with its roots. Now, Mr. Segbefia is from the Volta region, but you also should ask yourself, does he actually, you know, is he so in touch with the Volta region? It doesn't look like that. And that's the challenge with, you know, Alex Segbefia's case, for instance, because where he can actually claim his base is the Volta region, where he's not so popular. And my understanding of all the decisions that they've been making is the fact that for some reason, there's a decision to move away, a decision not to choose somebody from the Volta region. The decision seems to favor choosing somebody from the Akan group or persons who are well vexed in that constituency of the Ghanaian electorate. And so it creates a bit of an issue for Alex Segbefia. It would be surprising if he gets the nod. It doesn't look like him.
Right. To the former Finance Minister, Dr. Duffuor, Duffuor, he graduated in 1968 with a BSc degree in economics. His postgraduate studies was at the Syracuse University in New York, United States, where he obtained a master's in business administration degree in finance and banking and Master of Arts in Economics in 1975. He was also awarded a doctorate of philosophy in international finance in 1979 at that same university. In 1958, Dr. Duffuor entered Prempeh College in Kumasi on a Ghana Cocoa Marketing Board scholarship, where he obtained both his O-level and A-level certificate in 1962 and 64, respectively. And in 1968, he obtained a BSc Economics degree from the University of Ghana. And after working briefly with VRA, he started his career with the Ghana Commercial Bank in 1969. Between the years 1973 and 1979, while working with GCB Bank, Dr. Duffuor obtained a USAID and African Graduate Fellowship Awards to pursue further studies at the Syracuse University. And as you know, he's popularly known to be a former finance minister. So earlier you were talking about Dr. Duffuor, and you made the point that the MPP is also going to make their management of the economy a high point in this campaign. Exactly.
And I mean, in Dr. Bawumia's town hall meetings that he's held ever since he became vice president, one of the things he's always talked about is the figures. He's talked about the data. And what a way to talk about data if it is not on the economy. And you consistently would have seen that the government always makes a reference to their handling of the economy. Now, if you want to challenge that, and in the NDC's last campaign before the 2016 elections, Elvis Efi-Yankra at the time talked about, in introducing Opoku-Agyemang as the man who had a signature on the currency. Same would apply to Dr. Kwabena before. He's been governor before. He's been finance minister before. He has a very good understanding of the Ghanaian economy. He's also one who established a bank, and he created jobs for people. The NPP's 2016 campaign was a change agenda for job creation. And so many of the policies they put in place was talking about job creation. If you have a certain Dr. Duffuor, yes, his bank has been lost now, but in the build-up to the campaign, you can always make the case that, well, but for what this government did, many of you will still have had your jobs. You know I have done it before, and I can always do it. If there is that one person, even within the academic world, who has respect, he and Professor Kwesi Botry have a lot of respect. And I think that Dr. Bawumia himself has a lot of respect for somebody like, you know, Dr. Duffuor. And so in a lot of the jabbings, you're not going to be jabbing somebody you have so much respect for in that manner.
But when it comes to politics, does respect really matter?
It plays an important role. One of the things that politicians, you know, wouldn't say openly, but, you know, inwardly they admit is that the things he says to you, you should also get home and be able to still continue talking. And so he will say things that would not hurt so much. But, I mean, having said all of that, Dr. Duffuor's acumen when it comes to his understanding of economics and the Ghanaian situation is phenomenal. Anybody who reported in Parliament at the time, even when he presented budgets and whenever he came to deliver speeches, anytime the opposition at the time said, we started it, he said, you couldn't finish it. We're doing it for you. You remember that particularly.
Right, I do.
Yes, and so he's somebody who also can play the politics. Look, all the names that have come up, if there's one person who has, you know, as two sides to it, one who is seen as very quiet, but one who can also throw jabs, it is Dr. Kwabena Duffuor.
Okay.
He understands the politics, he knows how to play it. Talking about job creation, he could always play the victim to his advantage in the build-up to this election. I mean, if the banking sector cleanup comes up and all of that, he can always say, well, for all of you who had jobs from me, you would understand that, but for the government, quote and unquote, wickedness, we wouldn't be here.
Okay, all right. Winston Amwa is with the political desk here at Joy News, and he'll be bringing you more analysis as and when that nomination is approved by the NDC's NEC. Now, we've been asking you who you think should be selected. We hit the streets, and this is what you've been saying.
I'm highly optimistic that whoever that is chosen to partner JM will be somebody that can, in his absence, hold the fort, do everything possible so that at the end of the day, when that person who is chosen today, and then the president of a tenure of office is over, that person can fit well in his shoes and work assiduously and to the betterment of this nation.
A lot of names have come up. Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyemang is not an exception. We've seen her credentials. We've seen the kind of work she has done with UCC. We've seen the kind of work she has done with the Education Ministry. We've seen all these things. But my question that I keep asking my own people is that Ghana, are we ready for a female vice president? If so, I'm not saying she's not qualified. She's more than qualified to occupy that position as the first female vice president of a country like Ghana. But as a country, Ghana, are we ready? Looking at the people who are involved, looking at the four names that have come on board, I am personally rooting for Dr. Nimoy Thompson.
Members of the NDC, we expect somebody that is competent enough to add to the candidature of our flag bearer, that is John Dramani Mahama. So we, left to us, we don't care whoever is chosen. All we want to see or hear or know about is the competence level of the running mate. We expect somebody that will be a very good economist, because normally we have the vice president who is the chairperson for the economic management team, and we want somebody that has that background.
So stick and stay with your election headquarters. We will be bringing you the latest on that meeting at the NDC headquarters. Let's turn our attention to the voter registration exercise. And the Director of Training for the Electoral Commission, Michael Boidi, says a little over 2 million Ghanaians have registered after the first phase of the voters registration exercise. In an interview with Maxwell Agbagba at the Rich Church Registration Center, he gave the EC a more than 85 to 90% success rate for the first week of the exercise.
And we are here at the Rich Church Registration Center. What I can say confidently is that here at this registration center, we've seen some semblance of social distancing and the adherence to the COVID-19 health protocol. Quite different from what we saw sometime last week when we visited the Ododo-Diodio and the Blekuma South constituency. This is the second phase of the registration exercise, and it has started smoothly here at the Ridge Registration Center. But let's speak to Mr. Michael Boidu, who is the Director of Training for the Electoral Commission.
We have done very well. The turnout has been very impressive, and maybe I would say 85 to 90%. So, yes, but for some places where this social distancing has not been observed, largely the work itself, the technical aspect of the work has been excellent.
But how many people successfully registered in the first phase of the exercise?
Good. We're looking at about 2.2 million.
Wow. Yeah. 2.2 million as at the end of the fifth day, or
after the end of the fifth day, it's about 1.8. But considering the fact that every day we get between 350,000 to 400,000, if you add that, because we are yet to add that of the sixth day, we're likely to get 2.2 million for the first phase. And may I even add that out of these 2.2 million, those who registered using the NIA are about 64%.
Wow.
Yes. And those who registered using the guarantees, about 33. Just about 3% use passports. So that's the breakdown. So it means that people really have access to their Ghana card.
An argument that was made for a new voters register was the inclusion of the facial recognition, feature. How is that going?
When the information is taken, it's keyed on the laptop, then your fingerprint is captured using the scanner.
Okay.
Good. After which your photographs will be taken using the camera. That is where the facial recognition takes place.
Okay.
Good. Once we capture you with this camera, your data will be stored on the DVD.
Okay.
The DVD is not here. That's what we're going to use for the election. Good. It will be stored on there. So during election, when you come and you place your finger on the DVD and its face will recognize you, then there's a camera on the DVD. The new one that we are procuring, there's a camera. We take your picture instantly there, and it compares with the picture that we are taking now.
Okay.
It's already on the system. They will match. They will compare. So when there is a match, then it proves that you are the person. Then your identity is guaranteed.
Now, posters of lawyer Philip Addison have gone viral on social media, indicating his intention to contest as an independent parliamentary candidate in the Akuapem North constituency in the Eastern region. This follows his failed attempt at the recent MPP primaries to represent the party in the upcoming parliamentary elections. Maxwell Kudoko has been monitoring the situation. He joins us via Zoom with more on this development. So when did these posters pop up?
Well, right from Obosomase, if you know the constituency very well, it starts around Obosomase through to coming through to Mampong, Manfin, Latte and Ekropon. So the posters are seen across the constituency. It started popping up in the constituency yesterday in the morning. The constituents woke up and they saw the posters all over the constituency. And then it's also gone viral on social media. We've made attempt to speak to lawyer Addison himself, but it has failed. Fortunately, we had opportunity to interact with one Dr. Adodankwa, who happens to be the spokesperson for lawyer Addison in the constituency. Now, Dr. Adodankwa tells us that the posters is not coming from lawyer Addison himself, but it was posted in the constituency by some groups within the constituency who believe that lawyer Addison should represent the interests of the people of Akuapem North in the Parliament of Ghana. Now, Dr. Adodankwa also indicated that lawyer Addison has not made any public declaration to the effect that he is contesting independent, but it's an option that he's considering seriously, that in no time, lawyer Addison will come out and then also make a declaration whether he's contesting or not. He tells me that lawyer Addison is not happy with how the NPP treated him in the vetting process. He says they wrote a long petition to the appeals committee, but the appeals committee declined in hearing them, and up to now, they've not received any formal communication from the appeals committee and the party as to why he was disqualified. Speaking of the party, has this reached the notice of the party leadership in the region? What have they been telling you? Well, I spoke with the constituency chairman and then the regional secretary of the party, respectively. The constituency chairman confirmed seeing the posters in town, but he says that for now, they've not had any official communication from lawyer Addison and his team that they have or lawyer have resigned from the party. The regional secretary, Mr. Japonadu, also indicated that the secretariat have not received any formal communication. However, there are rules governing the primaries. He said that before the aspirants were made to purchase the form, they signed an undertaking indicating that they would not contest independent if they feel aggrieved. So the party at the regional level says that they are going to use all legal means to prevent lawyer Addison and anybody who attempt to go independent. That's in the first place. And then also, if they decline or they go contrary to the agreement that they assented to, they are going to also use the other option from expelling them from the party. So for now, the party at the regional level is waiting for official communication from lawyer Addison and his team. And then also, they will also take the next action by the legal. All right, that's Maxwell Kudoko there reporting from the Eastern region, and that's one area we'll be keeping an eye on. But that'll be all for Election Brief for today. I'm Marva Kumson. Join us same time tomorrow.